Welcome to another biblically based look into today's news from Christian Voice New Zealand. Now here's Mike Bain.
We continue in our series, The Great Reset, and today I want to touch on the death of money. Let's start with being thankful as we look back at the number of layoffs caused by COVID-19, and the shutdowns didn't last long. We were lucky in New Zealand. We had a government which moved quickly and provided financial assistance where and when it was needed. However, the problem was, we as a nation had to borrow billions of dollars to do so. But New Zealand's debt, along with other countries, has continued and continues to increase at an alarming rate. Carl Schwab from the World Economic Forum says that we must use modern monetary theory, known as MMF, to deal with the crisis. The stimulus must come from an increase in fiscal debt deficits, meaning that public expenditure will go up at a time when tax revenues decline. Schwab is saying that more money will be spent because of inflation, but tax revenues will decline. The only way a government can close this growing gap is by creating more money to cover the deficits, as the MMT recommends. In New Zealand, Finance Minister Grant Robertson followed the script from the WEF. He introduced the COVID-19 relief policy and kept borrowing from other sources, while the Reserve Bank fiddled with decimal points on its computers and therefore creating money and accelerating inflation. As our government continues its borrowing pattern post-COVID, the economic stability of the past can no longer be guaranteed, regardless of what spin the Finance Minister Robertson wants to use. You can feel its impact when you go to the supermarket, the gas station, or when you start buying things later this month for the kids when they go back to school. The economy and the value of the dollar remains under threat globally. Now, Schwab says that America has had the exorbitant privilege of retraining the global currency reserve, a perk the US has benefited from. But they might change. He writes that analysts and policymakers are considering a possible and progressive end to the dominance of the US dollar. Now, the rising deficit in the US is predicted to reach a threshold beyond which non-US investors are willing to fund. What is more, there's digital currencies that may eventually dethrone the US dollar supremacy. Nothing could serve the globalists better than a worldwide economy meltdown that would give the World Bank the opportunity to usurp the wealth of nations and begin to control the economy of the world. And in accordance with socialist principles, your money would no longer belong to you, but would be portioned out by the World Bank. So when currency becomes fully digitalised, currency wealth can be more equitably distributed, monitored and weaponised against those who don't play by their rules. All our wealth, that's everything that you earned, would now ultimately belong to the world bureaucracy. If they could adjust the economy, then they in turn maintain the equity. Everyone, and I mean everyone, could be given their fair share. And because technology will have displaced so many jobs, each person could be guaranteed a basic income. Now, massively needed wealth would be created digitally. Gone would be America's special place in the world, and with the collapse of its currency, the World Bank would come to the rescue. Now, using China as a model, at last we would have a supposedly unified, sustainable and equitable world. The disparities of the past would become a memory. So where are we in this process? Schwab writes, and I quote, "With regards to China, it's years ahead of the rest of the world in developing a digital currency combined with the power electronic prime payment platforms. The Chinese government is trying to become independent from the US intermediates while moving towards greater digitalisation." So if you want to know how government can use economic control to punish those who disagree with this policy, look no further than what has happened during a massive freedom convoy truckers protest in Canada in February last year. The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau sustained the debate on his decision to exercise emergency powers, and banks were told to freeze the accounts of leaders of the convoy. Their names were given to them by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. An online account of $10 million in donations raised for the truckers was frozen. After much criticism, the website with the funds announced that they would refund the donors. And when the names of those who contributed to the truckers were exposed, some were vilified. Imagine all currency locked away. No one will have to worry about their income. No one will have wealth. It'll all be controlled by the World Bank, who's controlled by the policies introduced by the World Economic Forum. Digitalization of currency, the end of money, is another piece of the puzzle of the end times, when we'll see the world controlled by the Antichrist. The saying that he who controls the economy controls the world is true. And that, my friends, lies in our future, potentially our immediate future. As a Christian organisation, we bring you this information in the hope that you'll do your own research. We don't want any one person to feel despondent about the future, because there is a very good future for the world and also mankind in particular. Jesus told his disciples to stay awake, stay alert, on the watch for the signs of the end times. So through this series, we hope to bring your attention to events happening today, when put together indicates a convergence of the events which are paving the way for the rise of the Antichrist mentioned in the Bible. Also mentioned in the same publication is the hope and the salvation available to those people who have faith in his word, that he will deliver his people from evil. My friends, don't accept the way of this world. Accept Jesus as your Saviour and King, for you know he is righteous and true.
Thank you for watching. Help us to spread this message by sharing it with your own network. If you want to see more messages like this one, simply hit the subscribe button. For more information about our work, or if you're moved to donate, jump online to our website, christianvoicenewzealand.com.